Okie dokie, it's the 29th of March 2025. She's at about 1:30. I've just come out of the, you know, that place where you go to lift heavy things, named after one of the members of the Corps gym. I just came from the gym, so I lifted plenty of heavy things, and then I had a chat with France. France is the owner of the gym, and he used to be a seafarer. Quite a lot of people here are seafarers, and he said that the main problem with seafaring is that you end up overseas a little bit too often. You don't get to spend any quality time. You don't get to spend any quality time with your family. Have I gone the wrong way? No, I don't think so. You don't have to spend any you don't get to spend any quality time with your family, and you know, it is quite taxing. It can take a lot out of you. So anyway, he doesn't do that anymore, you know. But I was saying, like, because I had another chat only a couple of days ago with a seafarer up in Cadiz City, and he was saying that he's very restless, you know, since he retired, and he's running this little coffee shop in the middle of nowhere, and he only moved to Cadiz because his wife made him move there, which sounds like the kind of thing that happens quite often to a man if he's not careful. What is it that you want me to do again? Oh, walk off a cliff. Anyway, see, I have to stop sometimes and be careful, because I'm an awful dibble for the tangents. I'll go off on a tangent, I'll be talking nonsensical gibberish, and you guys will end up thinking, or if there is anyone listening, you guys will be thinking, this guy's mad. What am I even listening to him for? And you'll be doing that thing that we tend to do, you know, when you watch a load of bollocks on the TV. Let's say it's a Netflix show or something, and you're watching it and you think, what am I doing watching this? Why am I watching it? Car crash television. So that's what I am. I'm doing the equivalent to burning your ears. I'm pissing your ears off with car crash audio. But you might be enjoying it. Maybe you're having a little look around, seeing what it's like to live in the Philippines. 3 minutes. I'm going to try. There's the Church of the Living God. Oh, well, that's brilliant. The Church of the Living God. I'll have to send that to a friend of mine. End time message believers. Ah, lads, we have to go down there and see what's happening. The Church of the Living God. Oh, we'll do that some other time, huh? That could be very, very interesting. Normally it's just the Jesus enthusiasts, but those guys might have gone one step further. They might have said, do you know what? He's not even dead, he's living, he's alive. Hello! Hi. Or maayong aga. That's how you say hello or good afternoon. Maayong hapon. This is a mouthful there, isn't it? It takes quite a lot out of you to say that. Maybe I'll lift the phone up another little bit so you get a good look at the road. So yeah, so the Jesus enthusiasts, you see them quite often. You got your conventional Bible basher, of course, because it's a Catholic country, so you'd see quite a lot of them around. Oh, I hear that wind is brutal. That wind is brutal. But you also have the Mormons, the participants of the Church of the Latter-day Saints. And so quite often you'd see this small group of people, what do they call themselves? Elders. Sister such and such and brother such and such. And you'd see them in the middle of nowhere. They'd be up in the mountains, right? Suited and booted, clean as a whistle, with their little name tags and their hair cut neatly parted in the middle, and they'd have a copy of the Book of Mormon, and they'd be holding it to their waist like it's a gun. And so away off they go into the middle of nowhere. Knock, 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 says they. Maayong hapon. And they open the door to this fella from Utah. Can I talk to you about Jesus? But they say it in the Ilongo language, which was spectacular, considering, you know, I've been here for 2 years and I've only got the splattering of the language. They will become fluent in the language before they go door knocking, right? Or practically fluent. There'll be one guy from Utah who's fluent in Ilongo, and then there'll be the apprentice who's picking up on it, and he's practically fluent anyway. So they'll say to this person, how are you fixed now? How are you fixed for a bit of an old chit chat about Jesus? And this person, without even seeing the copy of the book, will think to themselves, yeah, gee, I'd love to have a good old chat about Jesus. Come in, sit down, I'll put the kettle on. So then, because I've asked them, how the hell do you convince somebody who's born and raised Catholic, who swears by the Catholic version of Jesus, right? In and out of Catholic church every Saturday, Sunday anyway. They've got more Catholic memorabilia hanging off the walls now than a 16-year-old might have of their favourite boy or girl band. Hold on now. Being louder. He's loud enough. So anyway, he might say, how are you fixed now for an old chit chat about Jesus? And then the woman will be listening, and he'll say, so the thing about Jesus is, and then he'll go on about Jesus and the Jesus story. But then if your one is listening, if she's not dumbfounded by the Ilongo coming out of this farmer from Utah's mouth, right, she'll stop and she'll say, there's certain things about your version of Jesus that don't add up. And he'll say, yeah, see, my story of Jesus is a little bit different from your story of Jesus. Come here till I tell you about the Book of Mormon. And then he'll let rip, and he'll start talking about a completely different version. Wait a minute. Oh, look it, I don't know where that cut out. I don't know where that cut out. And my bike is after cut out as well. So anyway, yeah, the Catholic version of Jesus versus the Mormon version of Jesus, and this is going on in tin shacks across the Philippines in the middle of nowhere, and they got nothing. Barely have barely have 2 pesos to rub together, and they're entertaining this chap from Utah who's taken a year out of his life, because this is what they have to do, as a little bit like the Israelis have to do a year of military service. These guys from Utah, if they're going to be true believers, they have to come to the Philippines. I don't know now, do they draw straws to find out where they go? But they go generally to these places where there's possibly a blast of Catholics. They'll be the best people to talk about Jesus to, because they already like Jesus. So you just try and convert the people who believe in Jesus, see if you can get them to believe in a different version of Jesus. It's an easier sell. So you can see there, we passed by, you see your man says the Church of the Living God. So that'll be a different version of God altogether. Now we'll have to go down and say hello to them. So we're all welcome on this planet, aren't we? Look at, I tell you what, I'll leave it there. That's 1 minute and 35 seconds. There's a little bit too much wind. I'll upload that now and see what you make of that. But bottom line, I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm going to collect my son and we're going into town. Now, sure, I'll pick it up from there then.
Ang yalawan. Sa ako naghahatag subong ng scholarship para sa inyong kabataan. Kung may-ari ka mo di parinte, di mata, kilala, kanuya at eskwela, ay libre ang tuition. 160 a day ang alawan. Para sa eskwela, ang malayo ko subong sampai kamu tidak ada mati. Pagkatapos na kung karon, ang
Here we are in Ayala. Ayala is one of the two shopping malls. Actually, there's a couple of smaller jobs littered around the city, but the main ones are Ayala and SM. So let's take a little gander. That's the Kenny Rogers over there, which is a pretty good choice if you're interested in a little bit of chicken. And there you got your pizzas and your hamburgers and your... See that? 715 pesos, that's about 15 euro. See that? 365 pesos, that's about 8 euro. Right? Now, generally speaking, you can get a fine bit of food for a lot less, so why would you bother? You know, like there's a lot of restaurants here. On average, you'd spend about 250 to 300 pesos, but then you've got these kind of places that usually it's about 700, 800. That's an all you can eat. So yeah, I'd be tempted. I might do a U-turn and go back there now in a minute. Is it a bit of a sad thing to be eating by yourself? Are there many people around the world thinking the same? A lot of people are conscious of that and a bit anxious too. Like, geez, I'd never go to a restaurant by myself. I wouldn't want to sit. I wouldn't want to be seen by other people. What would other people think of me if I'm sitting there by myself? Mr. Lonely, Mr. Lost and Confused. What would people think of me? That train of thought went out the window a long time ago for me anyway. I often dine by myself. Sure, you know, I'd be waiting a while to find somebody else to dine with me that I feel like are able to what's the word? Why have I lost my train of thought again? Satisfy my intellectual requirements for a half-decent conversation. And that's an awful thing to say, right? Who do you think you are now? You're so picky. You're going to have to find somebody who can satisfy your intellectual abilities. I find sometimes, whether it's in a restaurant or whatever, trying to converse with people, especially people here who are from a different culture, it can take quite a lot out of me. Because you're not only conversing it'd be one thing if I was to be engaging in small talk with someone from Ireland. That is a lot easier for me. Or England or America or whatever. But trying to engage in small talk here is very difficult, right? And I wonder sometimes, is the reason that, like I was talking about this days ago, Filipino people find it very hard to look me in the eye when I'm talking to them. If I say hello, quite often they might say hello. They might hold your gaze for a second, but the eyes will be back onto the floor. So conversing with the locals here for me, and maybe I'm just overthinking it altogether, or maybe I'm imagining it, but it seems that it's a little bit harder to engage in small talk, and I think it's because Filipinos are worried that they might say the wrong thing, or they have this inbuilt idea that they are less than because they've been colonized by three different races. See, first they were colonized by the Spanish, then they were colonized by the Americans, then they were colonized by, the Japanese, and then, oh geez, the Japanese were awful devils, absolute devils. Check out a book called Rage, set in the Battle of Manila, and what the Japanese were doing in Manila from circa 1940 to 1945. Maybe I got those dates wrong. But anyway, as a result of years and years of colonization, they're a lot more conscious of themselves and maybe what they might say. I don't know what it is. The long and short of it is that it's difficult to engage in conversation. You know, people will actually look at you in the eyes a lot more when they're just walking past you. They'll take a little look and they'll be like, look at this guy, he's a foreigner. Maybe it's because I'm talking to myself on the phone. But even if I'm not, people tend to stare at you a lot more than if they are actually, if you're engaged in a conversation. Which is a little bit strange, and it takes a little bit getting used to. So, that's the end of my video, to be honest. I dropped my son off in Kids Zone, which is full of kids and also adults, and the adults are like, I bumped into a friend of Kay's there, Shalimir, and I can't remember her husband's name. That's fucking brutal. But there's lots of people here that I can't remember their names. It'll come to me now in a second. Any second now that name will resurface in my head and I'll be thinking, what the fuck, how did that slip away? Kids zones would have lots of parents in there, even though there are staff members who are paid to keep a watchful eye on your kids. I thought the whole point of that kind of kid zone thing would be that you could drop your kids off and then head off and do your own thing for a while. But it seems that this is a crazy idea, but parents are so attached to their kids that even when the option is there for them to drop their kids off and walk away, they will stick with them and play with them. I thought the whole point of it was to get a little bit of a break. So anyway, I dropped my kid off there. There's a blast of kids there for him to figure out how to communicate, how to, if he's playing with a toy, to tell another kid to feck off and get another toy. These are the kind of things that you need to learn as you're growing up. And I don't think parents need to be standing over the kid, because kids aren't going to interact the same. They're not going to interact the same if their fucking mother or father is hanging right over them. Is it narcissistic to be that attached? 7 minutes and 57 seconds. Talking gibberish. We'll put this one together with the 4 minutes at the start and the second minutes. Yeah, that's about 15 minutes, and that's the amount of time that I'm going to make. I'm going to be making 15-minute videos regularly enough, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and then I have a fella to help me set up a channel. So we'll see. There could well be lots of people watching me soon. Over and out from a sunny Bacolod City.